So I got a comment on that Stephen A. Smith. Yo, this shit is just beyond me, man. I had to get up. I was sitting in between a white person and an Asian person, and I just wanted to get up and speak my mind. One, because I didn't want them reacting to the video, and not because I was afraid of them feeling uncomfortable. I just didn't want them to react, but I just had to get up and walk and tell this damn story about Stephen A. Smith, man. Stephen A. Smith said about Trayvon Martin, the hoodies that the NBA players are wearing that I believe Carmelo Anthony started remind him of Trayvon Martin and would make white people feel uncomfortable. I say, number one, when do we got to make white people feel comfortable? Number two, we're not the one being attacked. They're attacking us, y'all. We're not George Zimmerman and Betty from Tulsa, and we're not them. They're killing us. And it's just imperative that, see, this is what I alluded to this in the last video. This American dream shit got us believing that we have to appease these, white supremacists, and for more importantly, just white people. When was the last time, I don't know if you guys can see me, if I walk this way it's a little better. It's nothing wrong with making a white person feel uncomfortable. There is nothing wrong with making a white person feel uncomfortable. And you guys say, why did I get up? Because I just wanted to speak my mind and speak with some vigor, and I didn't want to distract them and have them chime in and all that. This ain't the place for it. They're not my enemies. I just wanted to. But getting back to what I'm saying, why is Stephen A. Smith, he done lost the locker room, I'll tell you that much. For one, he done lost the Cleveland Cavaliers. I know, if I'm not mistaken, him and LeBron aren't on the best of terms. But let's stay on topic. That is that is an insensitive statement too, to even say that it reminds him of Trayvon Martin and it makes white people feel uncomfortable. So with that being said, that shows you who his allegiance is with. Break down that statement. Hoodies, we got to take hoodies off to make white people feel comfortable. I'm in the middle of a Chicago airport with this is complete by accident, but I'm in a Chicago hotel with my hoodie on. You know what I mean? And I never thought for one bit, I never even thought about how it would make a white person feel. As you guys know, I genuinely don't give a damn. To a certain degree, I have some decorum as it relates to surroundings and environments, such as what I just did just now at the airport. But at the end of the day, I love making these white supremacists feel uncomfortable. I fucking love this shit. I get off on it. I love it. And and I'm not saying, and this is what we got to understand as black people too, who are our allies and who are our enemies. Because I have a lot of great friends, man. I have a business partner who's white. I talk about my circle of friends that I have an accountability group, and I have a white guy that's in my accountability team. There's 6 of us that graduated from college at the same time. We played sports together, and we had our kids together, and and we hold each other accountable. Anything over $1,000, we gotta get approval. You understand what I'm saying? We're that tight. We know how much money we make, how much we're worth, what we're doing, and so on and so forth. So, but I think it's just imperative that we begin to ignore Stephen A. Smith. And in addition to ignore Stephen A. Smith, devalue him. Continuously, consistent, devalue him. And what I mean by devaluing him, it's not just our videos. When we do interviews with prominent black people in America or wherever, ask them questions about Stephen A. Smith and how they feel. And do your editing job on it. Frame that shit so they don't like him. You understand what I'm saying? Because, or not, excuse me, we don't care if they don't or do like him. We're talking about his credibility. Because his credibility, how can you be so insensitive? That's basically saying if, let's see, it's on come to me, but I mean, I could think of 100 analogies, but I'm trying to come up with one that would make sense. And I'm pretty sure you guys are thinking one as well. But that's just egregious. I mean, it's just insane. I never thought, and I don't even think about making white people feel comfortable. Don't even think about it. I'm in the middle of the airport talking. I mean, no, I don't live my life waiting to accommodate a white person. I genuinely don't. And getting back to what I was just saying, I'm sorry, I'm getting emotional about this shit, but I have great white friends, man. I have great white friends, and I don't like listing off, I got 2 or 3 white friends, because that makes me seem like I'm a racist. You know what I mean? Like when a white guy says, oh, I got three black friends. No, I don't do that shit. I got great friends that are white, and I don't count them. And that's just the reality of it, man. But at the end of the day, Stephen A. Smith is a man. I'm gonna see him probably at the next big fight that who is he with now? Oh, ESPN. He's not doing Top Rank anymore. Oh, Top Rank is with ESPN. Maybe I'll fly out for that Lomachenko fight. That's I'll think about that, because that's definitely a big fight. But it's just deplorable, disgusting that he would use an analogy with Trayvon Martin with something as simple as a hoodie. And part 2, as a multi-million-dollar black man, right? And I had this conversation with Stephen A. Smith. I'm an affluent black man, and there is no way on God's green earth, as an affluent black man, right, will I live my life to appease a white person. It's not happening. It's not happening. When I say I love being black, I love being a dark-skinned black man. I relish in it. Like, I love it. I embrace it. There's nothing I would rather be than to be in a black man. You know what I'm saying? Nothing. As two white people just walk by me when I say that shit. But there's nothing. I mean, I don't mean it from I love it, man. There's few better in my eyes, and I'm not perfect. I'm a flawed human being, but I don't wake up in the morning saying I must satisfy my white quota. Stephen A. Smith basically said that statement to appease white people. When do we have to appease white people? The NBA is a black league. NBA is 70% black. It's a black league. And I'm not saying there's a decorum attached to a black man. And that's the flip side of that argument too, which should be in a different video so I can title it. But you're basically saying there's a certain decorum that white people have as it pertains to black men, and how they perceive how black men should act. Because he said we gotta take the hoodies off before we remind them of Trayvon Martin. Oh, come on, man. Anyways, man, I'm stuck. I'm delayed in Chicago. What's the name of that pizza joint in Chicago? Put it in the comment section. I probably won't even make it in time, but I went by, was it Garrett's Popcorn? I didn't get none of that because I get that popcorn all the time because my neighbor is from Chicago, and she always got the Garrett's Popcorn on deck, so I don't need that. But I know there's a deep dish famous pizza company in Chicago that I am willing to try, but you guys aren't gonna get this video in time to even tell me. But this is the time where I wish I used Twitter, right? Because I can just type it in, or I can just ask someone here. But it'll be cool getting it from y'all because, we have a mutual respect and understanding for one another, and we love one each other. We got that cyber love going on. And about someone just typed, "Nigga, you gay." In the comments, I get that shit all the time. And you know what bothers me too? We just gonna keep on talking. You know what bothers me too? About how people associate someone's sexual orientation with the diction of their voice, with the diction of how they enunciate their words. That's funny too. You know what I mean? Because I've always been like that. I've always had I'll probably say 17, 18 years old. I've always been like that different dude. I was always a great athlete. and all that. But, and I'll be candidly honest with you. It wasn't until I was like 22, 21, somewhere in there, my junior, senior year in college, where I started morphing into who the universe, God, who I was, my true character, because, hunting for women is in every man. Chasing success is in every man. But when you want, I was getting a few fights. And as I grew, I realized I'm a pacifist. Although I do 100 rounds a week, of different boxing disciplines and everything else. But the last thing I want to use is my hands to fight. I want to use my hands to type these fucking emails and write these books and all that. But I just want to, at the end of the day, just encourage you, man. Be the best version of yourself. It took me some time to get there because I grew up poor, grew up in the hood, no father. So you had that placebo toughness. You had the fake toughness. You had, I never sold drugs. I was always around it. You know what I'm saying? All my cousins sold drugs. I got 3 cousins doing 25 years to life, as you guys probably heard in some other videos. I got some cousins who killed the motherfucker in Harlem and on the street. They got out after doing 26 years together, brothers. They never ratted on each other. You know what I'm saying? So I grew up around it. I knew where the drugs were in the house and everything. I knew where the weed stash was. I knew where the chickens were. I knew how to wrap cocaine and take it down to 95 to go down to Virginia. I learned all that shit as a kid, right? But I never put myself in that position. I never was a part of that. Never was a part of that. You know what I mean? And around my junior year in college, I realized, I am who I am, man. I'm a cornball with a little bit of swag, man, and that's basically who I am. And I enjoy myself. And at the end of the day, that's who we got to be. We got to be the best version of ourselves. And Stephen A. Smith is going against the fabric of being a black man in America. I just genuinely believe that. I think he's deplorable. I think he's losing touch with our reality. And it's easy, and I'll tell you this. I'm not sure how much Stephen A. Smith is worth. I don't really care, but we know he's fiscally successful just based upon the platform that he has right now. It's easy to get caught up in your own success. It's really easy to get caught up in your own success and say, I don't have to fight, or I fight the fights I want to fight. I made it so I can hold black people accountable. Like I said in the last video, we are only 47 years away from having the right to own and vote in America. 47 years. Think about that. Your auntie's 47. I'm 40. That's crazy, right? This is the first generation of black wealth in America. First generation. That is insane. If you put that on a quiz and on any test in high school, they will say, or if you wrote that, blacks in America only have the right to own and vote in all 50 states in 47 years. No one would believe it, because our history books, our teachers, the TV want us to believe that Jim Crow was 100 years ago. Disrespecting blacks was 100 years ago. Segregation was only 100. No, it was 47 years ago, man. Martin Luther King was assassinated April 4th, 1968, if I'm not mistaken. April 4th, April 3rd, April 4th, 1968. 70, man, come on, man. I'm sorry I'm going over on this video, but I got time to kill. My flight's not leaving till 3:34, and I got time to talk. And I just think that, and it all boils down to Stephen A. Smith acting like a coon. And I'm going to suggest these words to him. I can't call him a coon because that shuts down the dialogue. I have to set him up, right? I have to set him up in terms of people understanding who he is, so he's forced to respond. If I call him a coon, he walks away and wants to fight me. So as a journalist, I got to set him up and him feeling like we believe him to be a coon. And I'm going to interview him at some point within the next 365 days, and he's going to give me an hour of his time, and we're going to debate. And I'm going to do my best, because now he filibusters a lot. So I'm going to do my best to stop him when I'm going to ask him yes/no questions, yes/no questions, because he is the best filibuster probably on TV. I mean, he filibusters better than most politicians. I mean, like, for real. But anyways, man, you guys have a wonderful Monday. I get to interview Deontay Wilder about this very stuff. So that'll be a great sit down with Deontay Wilder. I should be able to spend some time with him and just talk to him for 15 to 20 minutes. You know, you got to get his mind right for this fight. I don't really want to talk all that time about racial relations, but he loves to talk. So I will formally introduce myself to Deontay Wilder. We've met several times, but we've never had any we've partied together and hung out together, but we've never really spent any time together. And when I called him 2 weeks ago about similar issues, we had a great conversation for about 10 to 15 minutes, 10 minutes maybe, and about him standing up in New York, about taking a knee. I applaud him, and let's understand this too. As a black person, in addition to recognizing the people that have to fight and calling out people for not doing the right fight, it is your obligation to fight in your community. And whether it's cleaning up paint on graffiti, picking up trash, going to a black business, spending your tax dollars in your community, wherever, that's your part. Do your part, because that is the responsible thing to do. And I salute y'all. This is a 17-minute video. Didn't expect it to be this long. I'm in Starbucks about to get me a coffee cake. And have a great Monday, as I said, you guys. But Stephen A. Smith, finally, I'll leave it at this. Stephen A. Smith needs to understand. As a black man, you cannot wake up every morning thinking about what a white person thinks of you. You wake up every morning thinking, how can I be the greatest version of myself? And part two to that, protecting your family and protecting the legacy of your ancestors. So anyway, Barbershop Conversations, man. Feel free to hit the subscribe button. And as I say, we are one. We are one. I love that song. We are one. All right, have a great day, y'all. Peace.